the thing that I find demoralizing isn't like the loss, right? Like we understand that politicians disappoint you. Is it more disappointing when it's people that you admire and were really rooting for and have been following so closely and pulling for the last 2 years? Yeah, of course. But that I don't think that's what it is. What I think it is that on some level, I feel like I am the most naive person in politics. And I think that that's the source of my optimism, right? I made this is not like a real sacrifice compared to what a lot of other people have sacrificed, but made some professional sacrifices and financial sacrifices to like do this kind of stuff, do this kind of work and like not be a lawyer anymore. And I did it. And because I believed in everything, like I believed, when Bernie Sanders in 2016 started talking about healthcare as a human right and how we could have a better world, I believed it. I felt empowered in that belief. And when the opportunity came to write about these issues full time and help to rebalance what continues to be an enormously skewed media infrastructure, I jumped at the chance, even if I couldn't really afford it, even if I really couldn't keep up with my loans, even if I just ate through my savings that year, I wanted to do it. And selfishly, like I enjoy doing it too. So it's not like, I'm not saying I'm a martyr or anything, but like, I did it because I believed in it. And then when the Bernie campaign asked me to come on board, I loved working at The Intercept. Like I have never felt more validated in a job in my life, but I did it because I believed in it. I said, well, if everything that Bernie is saying, if 68,000 people dying every year is unconscionable, hundreds of deaths, preventable deaths every day, people's mothers and brothers and sisters and cousins and lovers, then how can I sit here as an ethical human being and not do this, right? Like not participate. And it's the same with this. It's like, I don't care how long the shot is. If we're going to sit here and tell people that 15 million people in the last year alone, less than that, have lost their employer-based healthcare in a system that was already deeply broken, where we know that if you have insurance, it's no guarantee that you're not going to be bankrupted by common medical ailments. And if we don't just say those things as statistics, if we actually mean that, and we're really thinking about the human lives that are lost, like the stories of, Scott and Joy that were told at the Force a Vote town hall, how am I going to sit there and look at a man who was in front of his computer one day and saw a Facebook message from his kid saying, I've super glued my seatbelt closed. I'm about to drive into a lake and kill myself because I had to go off of my medication and there's suicidal ideation for going off of that medication because I missed a $20 payment on my premium. How am I going to look at that man in the face one day and have a conversation with him and tell him we're fighting for Medicare for all and then be like, I negotiated for some pay-go exemptions for climate change and COVID, but we're gonna maybe get a single payer in California, and then 10 or 20 years from now, maybe we can have it nationally. It doesn't jibe. Like it doesn't flow. It's not consistent. And we can just be like, fine. Like if we're just going to be Pelosi's, if we're going to be corporate Democrats and be like, yeah, this isn't even our goal. That's fine. I have almost more respect for that than to give lip service to the exigency of this crisis and then not to behave in an exigent way. And for people on the left to be participating in that, if you have strategic concerns and are saying we should ask for different things, fine, I respect that. If you have strategic concerns and say, I think we should just oust Pelosi and not make any demands, right on, let's do that. I would get behind any of those things. But to defend doing the bare minimum, to defend inaction, to defend, I think they have our best interests at heart and are working at something behind the scenes. I could even defend, hey, I had a secret conversation with them and trust me, they're on it. They can't disclose it for strategic reasons. And they had ample opportunity to do that too. They didn't. They told us, we can't do this because we're holding out for a $15 minimum wage. The animosity, and I'm not saying that I have animosity for AOC, but the ire that was focused on her in particular, it's not out of nowhere, and it's not because she's Latina, and it's not because she's a woman. It came because she engaged directly with Justin Jackson and offered up a bunch of excuses for why she didn't want to force the vote, which were kind of superficially on their face, like fake. You know, they weren't credible. They weren't credible excuses. You know, if you're concerned that no one's willing to run against Pelosi, that's a problem. Say more about that. Are you saying that what? Karen Bass doesn't want to be speaker? Barbara Lee doesn't want to be speaker because what? Because they've exchanged what for that? For not running. What are they afraid of losing? What are they getting? And is it personal, or does it inure to the benefit of us, their constituents? Talk about it, unpack it, expose it. AOC, if you held yourself out, are you saying that you don't feel qualified to be speaker? Because I think a lot of us don't care. A lot of us don't care if you think that you can like wrangle votes or what have you, that this would be a show of power that could, in the longer term, inure to our benefit more.
And there's no qualifications for the office.
There's no qualifications. Again, it could be Cornel West. It could be you.
It could be me. So I'm just saying.
Virgil is a great speaker's name, right?
I've not received any votes. Obviously, this has been a disappointing day for me also for different reasons. But yeah, it could be me. It could be you.
Right. So I'm sorry. I know I'm ranting. I'm just saying, you know, I'm not saying this is a reason to, you know, use violence or violent language against any of these people. But when you have so little in the way of accountability, and then what little you think you had doesn't kind of show up, it can be an isolating experience. There's a silver lining to this, I should say. You're right. I should do a good faith. We kind of dropped doing good faith, bad faith, but we probably should do that.
Should do a little good faith. Well, there's more news we can talk about.
Okay, sorry. Do news. I just want to.
No, keep going. No, keep going. No, keep going. This is good.
You know, the silver lining, the good faith, if you will, is that a number of people, including active DSA members, who will continue to be active DSA members because there's a lot of value in the DSA, right? But who feel like there are some things that DSA isn't built for or what they want to do. And so they are starting something else, which is fine. We need to have multiple approaches, just like we need multiple voices in this fight with different tones and approaches. And the organization that's come together so quickly in the Slack channel that some people on the left think is hilarious is really impressive. And I've been on several calls at this point with the leadership there. And these are young people with all kinds of organizational, legislative experience at times, who have put together a financial arm, a fundraising arm, a media arm, what do you call it? Like design arm, they've already produced videos, and they're serious about this, and they don't have time. They're like pulling all-nighters on top of like not very well paying jobs. A lot of them are young. A lot of them are marginalized because they care passionately about this. And that's amazing. That's amazing. And I know that I'm supposed to be saying something positive right now, but the idea that one would scoff at that effort, that there are people who call themselves leftists who are in the Slack for the express purpose of like talking crap about it in their media channels. Yeah, I know what you're doing. You know I'm talking about you because I've got trolls in those media channels and I've seen what you've been saying. It's really disheartening. Virgil, it's like a level of ugliness that like I just did not expect from my peers.
Well, welcome to the left.
Yeah, this is not, it's not okay. That is not okay behavior. We can disagree, but I have a hard time believing you even support my end goals if you're going to be so ugly about people who are fighting actively for the same end goals. It's hard when you see people who are trying so hard and so authentic being discussed with such malice by people who claim to have this like humanistic goal at the core of their politics.